So, about a year ago, I made an entire video talking about Mortal Kombat Legends, Scorpion's Revenge. I talked about how Mortal Kombat in the late 90s was really bizarre and kind of weird. From the weird Mortal Kombat live show where Shang Tsung, the main villain of Mortal Kombat, said this about the series and what it means to be in Mortal Kombat.
Kids to get from this. I mean, the video's already come under a little bit of criticism for some of the violence. This is a pretty wild act.
Yes, it is. The show is based on a martial art aspect of the video game, Mortal Kombat, and it's already been to a movie, and now we're doing the live tour. It's been under, the violence has always been around, but what martial arts and this show has to present is all positive messages.
What sort of positive messages?
Well, it helps children be able to be concerned about violence and the difference between martial arts and violence. It helps them to be positive. It helps them to be able to overcome any obstacles which is in their life and to be able to attain goals. It helps them to commit to good things in their lives.
And essentially giving a PSA against bullying to the bizarre children's show for marketing purposes to sell toys, where you know what time it is.
I got one! Combat time! Combat time! Combat time! Combat time! Combat time! Combat time!
It's strategically wrong to take combat time.
I will never get old of that stupid meme from this cartoon. But today I'm going to talk to you about something near and dear to my heart personally, and that is the 1995 Mortal Kombat live action film. And I thought, hey, with the reboot movie coming out this weekend, why not talk about what I consider to be, for the longest time, the best video game adaptation? Because Mortal Kombat to me is beautiful and it's messy. So let's talk about the story. To me, fighting games are probably the good choice to make a movie about. It's really easy to recreate fighting game backgrounds into movie form, and they actually have some certain backgrounds being referenced, without doing the whole, look at this video game, we're making callbacks, let me shove it into your face. But because this was a fighting game, all you really had to go by were the backgrounds and the weird backstories and ending bios, and so they worked from there to create their own world. And when you reach Shang Tsung's island, they pan out to show something very otherworldly feeling. With Shang Tsung's island, it comes off very mystical and mysterious. It has multiple caverns in these caves, as well as just other rooms and beaches. So it gave a chance to mess around and create similar areas from the game, and some that are their own. I would say I really love NetherRealm because you can tell they kind of had a budget and couldn't create the cool karate hell from the games, but what they did was really charming too, with the fake bones and whatnot. But when you reach Outworld, it just looks like an entire fallen Roman Empire, and I like that feel to it, as it was once this great world. In fighting games, the plot is usually very vague enough that you can kind of have some creative liberties with the story, and Mortal Kombat was aggressively vague because at this time, Mortal Kombat and Mortal Kombat 2 were out, and they really didn't have very much. Just the karate tournament was the fate of the Earth. Mortal Kombat 1 was set on Earth, while Mortal Kombat 2 is set in Outworld. Plus, then the games had quick character bios and vague endings. Mortal Kombat the movie was able to capture the feel of both MK1 and MK2, but also managed to make itself feel different from the games, but also very similar, like adjacent to the games, but not a one-for-one remake. And now, this is where we get into the conversation about what makes a good story, because honestly, I've loved the story of Mortal Kombat since I was a young kid. Because, in face value, the story of Mortal Kombat is really fucking dumb. It's basically a teenager's bad karate fan fiction with robots, ninjas, and hot chicks. This movie delivers on two of those things. Sonya Blade and Katana are really, really cute. And the jobbers in this movie are a bunch of faceless, oiled, buff ninja dudes. Oh, and Sub-Zero, Scorpion, and Reptile are there. But we'll get to them later. So the plot is simple. Our three main characters, Johnny Cage, Liu Kang, and Sonya Blade, are the only three mortals on Earthrealm who are able to stop Shang Tsung and his plan to take over Earthrealm with the help of Outworld. Now, the one major change from the film is that the name is Mortal Kombat, but it's PG-13, so very little blood, no gore, but they seem to be able to capture the violence in a fun way. Sure, they don't have your typical spine-ripping, heart-exploding, skull-bashing fatalities, but they do have a couple of gnarly death scenes, like my favorite being the one showing off Sub-Zero's power as a guy tries to show off his super sick kung fu skills and gets turned into solid ice and then shatters to a wall.
was.
Then the fight between Johnny Cage and Scorpion, they could get away with not showing blood, but decapitating Scorpion showing lava goo spewing out instead. And as a kid, I thought that was like really rad compared to the other fighting game movies that came out during this time, which were Double Dragon and Jean-Claude Van Damme's Street Fighter. This movie had the most solid action scenes, and it's because they actually had people who could actually fight, as well as using the Hong Kong cinema technique for filming action scenes, which is when most of the fights are filmed in wide shots, giving you more time to show off the scene in action, which makes watching the fights very entertaining. I thoroughly love the fight centered around Liu Kang because we have a trained martial artist in Robin Shou against stunt doubles, so you know these guys know how to fight. The fights that usually make me hype are his fights against Reptile and his final fight against Shang Tsung. Both have excellent choreography and some nice subtle callbacks to the games, with Liu Kang using some iconic moves.
Fucking living legend. A religious icon. I don't know how those don't,
Adding to the choreography is the costume and the effects of Mortal Kombat. So the effects are stupid and like cheap to today's standards, but holy crap, as a kid I thought these were the coolest things ever. Like, bro, was that real ice? Is Scorpion really on fire? And rewatching it now, I find a lot of these effects to be impressive. The one that really sticks out to me the most is when Scorpion rips his face off and shows a skull. It's really bad, but for some reason it's so aggressively charming. But to me, the most impressive thing of this movie is the Goro animatronics. Stories were told about how awful this thing was rigged, and it didn't work most of the time, and so that's why we don't see Goro much in the movie. I'm just surprised it worked at all, and it looked, for what it was back in the day, was really impressive. But where they really hit video game authenticity of the games is all of their ninja characters. Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and Reptile. All of them look really awesome and badass. Like, they seem to have upgraded visuals from the suits from the game, which were distorted by the video game pixel graphics. But although these characters looked kick-ass, they were really unfleshed out generic bad guy henchmen, which kind of sucked. But again, I am thinking about this as the Mortal Kombat lore expanded and the rivalry between Sub-Zero and Scorpion became more fleshed out. Here, again, we just had the two games. But I do enjoy the main three characters. Like, Johnny Cage has always been my favorite character in Mortal Kombat, and Lyndon Ashby really nails his cockiness, as well as his this is a karate tournament, why is the karate tournament the fate of the world kind of feel. I like how they fleshed out Liu Kang, who came into this Mortal Kombat a bit jaded, and he isn't just this stoic monk-like Asian warrior. He actually has a reason to be there besides the fate of the earth. He wants revenge for the murder of his brother. Listen, I'm a sucker for the over-the-top kung fu tropes to push the story forward, and this does it perfectly. Then there's Christopher Lambert as Raiden, which is weirdly charming and kinda lame at the same time. Like, I don't know how to put it, but the dude looks like he was just having a good time filming throughout this entire movie. He's charismatic and mysterious when he needs to be, but Shang Tsung, to me, steals this entire movie. Kari Hiroyuki Tagawa is amazing as the villain Shang Tsung. He is straight-faced with his lines, and he says them with such aggressive and threatening tones. It's just really fun, especially when he says, like, this.
Your soul is mine.
Kano was really fun, but I feel like he was underused. Like, I really hate how they kill off main Mortal Kombat characters because, they just don't die in the games, so why would you kill them in the movies? But I think the weakest characters are the female characters, Sonya Blade and Katana. They're kind of just played off as just mad damsel in distress characters or just lame exposition dumps. Going back to watch this film before the upcoming Mortal Kombat reboot, I was a little hesitant, I won't lie. But maybe it's because I'm looking at this with the lens of nostalgia, but god damn it, did I really have fun with this. And I think for me personally, this did deserve the title of the best video game film for a long time. It was Mortal Kombat as you could get at the moment. And this movie actually was very impactful to Mortal Kombat. It would actually shape later story points in the series. Kano wasn't Australian until after this movie was, so canonically afterwards he had that Australian accent. As well as Shang Tsung screaming, "Your soul is mine," and I think fans of Mortal Kombat have a love for this movie, with the recent Mortal Kombat 11 game getting carried Hiroyuki Tagawa to come back to voice Shang Tsung and model his likeness as well as giving him his own badass side story in an expansion pack. Plus, getting exclusive movie skins for Raiden, Sonya, and Johnny, having their original voice actors reprise their roles, as well as modeling them after their likeness is really rad as hell to me. This was Paul W.S. Anderson's first big Hollywood film. He would end up being a big part of another video game movie franchise we all know and maybe love depending on how far you got to it. 3 was like my breaking point. Resident Evil. And you can tell he took some things into those films and his later films when it comes to framing and showing his action, which is really, really good. I thought Monster Hunter was a garbage ass movie, but those action scenes were really rad against the Rathalos and whatnot. But there is one piece of media that defines this movie, and it is its opening theme. The immortal song Techno Syndrome, quote Mortal Kombat, is literally what everyone thinks about when they think of this movie. You could know dick all about this movie, or even Mortal Kombat in general, but you know what they're talking about when someone is impersonating the rhythm. This song is the first EDM song in America to reach platinum twice, and to me, this song is its legacy. When I first saw the Mortal Kombat trailer reboot when it came out, the ending theme was Techno Syndrome, but in an orchestral arrangement. This theme embodies and encapsulates what we think and see Mortal Kombat as, because when that started, I was immediately like, oh my god, yes, Queen! And to be honest, that is what made me hype for the reboot. I am excited for the reboot of Mortal Kombat. It looks rad, it has a bunch of my favorite martial artists, and it looks like it's going to be true Mortal Kombat. The blood, the gore, the action, and the dumb stupid karate background story. And seeing how far we've come when it comes to video game movies and being allowed to be more Mortal Kombat than 1995 could ever be, it gives me hope for the future of Mortal Kombat in the movie franchise. Mortal Kombat isn't some big brain series. The story is like I said before, some teenagers karate stupid fanfiction mixed with sci-fi and weird Asian mysticism. But that's okay to be dumb because it's still really fun. So Mortal Kombat 1995, still fun and rad. And let's not ever think about the bullshit sequel, Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Fuck that film. Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, leave a like, and if you have anything you want to say about the video, comment down below. And if you think it was a pretty rad video and it's really interesting and other people should share it around, you can go ahead and share it around. I just wanted to say thanks for everyone who was part of the charity stream and helped me raise over $500 for the Asian Mental Health Collective. That was really cool. I'll be back with some more videos, and like always, whatever you're going through, you got this, cowboy.